Hello everyone, Shenn Thomas here, and today's video is on these little booklets that I made that I sell on my Etsy, or you can buy these directly through me on Facebook. I'm Shenn Thomas on Facebook. Anyway, the first booklet is an 84-page booklet about Qi and meditation, Reiki, and 18 drills that I put together that are called Reikido or Spirit Palm. And so they're moves kind of like Tai Chi that utilize Reiki. Okay? And so to go into a little more detail, the booklet itself is called Reikido Warrior, which I was kind of having fun with that idea. And I have many illustrations. So with this booklet, what I wanted to do, besides having a bunch of text telling you various things, right, I wanted to do little pictures in the margins, because I thought, well, that's always kind of fun for people. You know, when I was growing up, I loved books that had little explanations in the margins, you know, little illustrations and little notes, and so that's what I love about this book. Is I was able to hire a tattoo artist, somebody who is a little bit better than I am at doing all these little drawings of postures and meditation, you know, little diagrams and things, you know. So what it does is it follows the text in the book, and it kind of gives you an idea, you know, of what's going on, and it helps make things clear, you know, of somewhat of a complex subject. So anyway, the booklet sells for $10, and then I also have a little $10 guide. And what this is a little Reiki symbols guide. So in my booklet I talk about the symbols of Reiki, but in this one I go a little bit further, and I have pictures of Dr. Usui, Hayashi, and Madame Takata, as well as then I go into kind of what the symbols are, and some detail of kind of what their basic use is. And again, it's kind of like the other booklet where I have lots of pictures in the borders and the margins. And with this little booklet, I talk about the Reiki invocation prayer and the attunement prayer, or the ceremony of how to do that. And then I also have self-healing hand positions, your basic chair session and table session for Reiki, for utilizing the hand positions. And then also the Taoist and Buddhist Qi breathing, kind of what that's about. And again, all the symbols and the variations that we teach in our system of Usui Reiki. So anyway, this is a little fun companion booklet, and also, you know, it comes with the Reikido Warrior booklet. And you know, the main idea behind this Reikido Warrior booklet was when I was learning Reiki, Lily was teaching a class at Trolley Square in Salt Lake City, and it's kind of like an old-fashioned train depot that they converted into a mall, Trolley Square. And a couple years before the class there was a shooting, and so there was some kind of traumatic energy that was still there at that mall. And so I asked Lily about that. I said, well, why are we holding a class here, of all things, to teach something kind of delicate like Reiki? And she told me really that she taught the class there because the place needed some healing to happen. And so I was thinking, well, you know, that's a good point. You know, people there to learn Reiki, to help heal and maybe change the energy of the place, you know. And so I had probably 2 or 3 attunements that happened to me there for some symbols, you know, while we were meeting there at Trolley Square. And at one point, I'm not sure which attunement it was, but I went home that night and I actually had a dream, and it was a very vivid and kind of a traumatic dream. So in the dream, I was walking around Trolley Square, and Trolley Square, to kind of give you an idea, there are all these buildings that used to be trolley buildings back in the early 1900s. And so they have kind of this red glossy brick on all the floors, and it's really beautiful inside how they built in all these little stores for the mall part of it. And it has 2 levels and stairs and like railings. And so when I was a little kid growing up in Salt Lake, Trolley Square was one of my favorite places to go, because not only did it have the stores, and this was before kind of the corporate mall thing, but they had all sorts of little booths, little art booths. And I remember there was a guy that used to draw caricatures of people, and I remember walking around and watching him draw people, and I was like, I want to be an artist just like him. And so, you know, and I remember that mall, you know, with all these open little booths on the bottom floor. It used to have kind of like a festival feel to it. And so I loved going there. And so I have lots of good memories there as a kid. And so it's just really traumatic that this shooting happened there, and people died. And so in my dream, I was walking around, and there were other couples and adults and people walking around and going from like restaurants and walking around in and out of the little shops. And I remember walking, and I could hear gunshots ring out, you know, and I was like, you know, wow, this is kind of crazy. I'm in the middle of this, and there's somebody shooting, and I noticed I started seeing people running down the hallways, you know, going on in all different directions, trying to kind of get away from the sound of gunfire. And I can hear people yelling and screaming, and so I thought, oh, this is kind of crazy, you know, what do I do? And at first I thought, well, you know, I've got to kind of find cover. I don't have any kind of weapon myself, and so I kind of looked around, and there were all these little staircases kind of going down. And in the construction of this mall, some of these staircases went down to like just storage areas. And so they're good places to kind of hide, right? And so I was getting ready to kind of dodge and jump down one of these staircases, because I could hear things getting closer. And I saw a couple were running towards me. And I said, here, go down here. Hide down these stairs, you know, and maybe you'll be safe. And so then I kind of went a little bit further down this hallway, and I could hear, you know, other gunshots happening and stuff. And so I thought, okay, well, it's time for me to hide somewhere. So I ran down this other hallway and down this other staircase, and as I ran down the staircase, I turned, and there's a shooter, right? There's a guy right there, you know, and I guess he was hiding, probably from the police that were after him. And, you know, he was just as startled as I was, because I ran down there, and I turned, and there he was. And he turned to me, and he had the gun, and he pointed it right at me, right at my forehead, you know, and I was kind of sitting there like, okay, you know, now what? And I kind of got this feeling of calm that came over me. And I put my hands together, and I said, Amitofo, Amitofo. And what I noticed happened is this person, he had this kind of glazed over look of like just kind of darkness and anger. And when I said those words, Amitofo, and I looked at him, I could actually kind of feel energy kind of shooting forward, and maybe symbols kind of going into him. And he just had this look on his face like he had awakened, from like being in a nightmare or being possessed or something. And he kind of looked at me like he didn't even know why he was there. And he looked at the gun and he's like, what's going on? And so he ended up just setting the gun down and just kind of sitting there with his head down. And I could hear some running up above me and up above in the hallway. And there were the police, and they were kind of yelling down, who's down there? And I said, the shooter's down here. It's okay. He put the gun down. You can come down and you can take him away. And so that was kind of the end of the dream, is the policeman came down and he just held his hands out and they handcuffed him and they took him away. And so from this dream I got this feeling that Reiki itself is more than just this healing modality, more than just maybe this pathway to enlightenment, but it was also a form of protection, spiritual and physical protection. And so I got this inspiration from this dream that not only do we have the side of Reiki where we learn the hand positions and we do the scanning and we do this healing work, or we do this self-healing, but we can also kind of bring this Reiki power and we can invoke it and we can use that for a type of spiritual self-defense and even physical self-defense.